Welcome to the Monarch Group Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Aaron, who is with Kicking Trash. He's got a great story, and I wanted to bring him in and hear more about it, what he's doing, and how he's impacting Louisville. Hello, Aaron.
What's going on?
How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here as well. We got connected through social media, which is a way that a lot of people get connected these days.
Right.
Why don't you give people a quick intro into Kicking Trash, who you are and what you're doing?
All right. So my name's Aaron Little. I was born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky, in the Portland neighborhood. And, you know, I've always loved the city. Really, we don't get enough credit here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I think it's starting to catch on. You're a realtor, so you know, like, people are coming from different states, cities, trying to come to Kentucky, not just the Derby, but we have it all. But, you know, growing up, you know, I noticed that because I was homeless for a short period of time when I was younger. We had a trash problem when, you know, I'm 36. We had a trash problem then, and I noticed it at a very young age. But as we have grown as a city, it's becoming increasingly worse. And I don't really see much, you know, impact as far as curbing that. So when I was, you know, I was about 20, 22 years old, I got a job actually right down the street from here at Camden Meadows. It was an apartment complex, and it was like the first job after the fast food industry. You know, it was like my first big job. So I got it, and I was a groundskeeper. So the first thing we would do in the morning was walk the property, the entire property, and pick up litter. And at first I was kind of like, you know, this is a chore, this is boring. But then I had a conversation with my property manager, and she was like, this is how we get people in here. You got to have curb appeal. And so that just stuck with me. Her name was Sherry Gardner, shout out. And Sherry's a great person, and I don't even know if she knows, but that kind of stuck with me. And my mom had already instilled it, you know, within who I am. But when she said that, it almost reinforced it. So every morning I got my day started, got me a cup of coffee, and it was just relaxing. I wasn't in, you know, the grind of sweating on you know, I worked at Qdoba, and I was in front of people all day long, making chips, burritos, tacos, and it was stressful a lot of the time, especially like dinner rush, things like that. So when I got this job, I just really enjoyed it for the first hour or so, picking up trash, and I felt like I was actually making a difference. We were like 90-something% occupied all the time. And I felt like that was part of the reason why. Like, people see it, they see something just in a split second, they say, oh, that property looks neat, nice. I want to live there. They don't want trash everywhere and broken windows and paint chipping off. You know, you want to keep that, like she put it, curb appeal. So it's just always stuck with me. And now, you know, I do it every day, but really I lost touch with it for a short period of time because I got a job in a factory, and it was totally not something that, you know, I wanted to. I like being outdoors. I've always liked horticulture and plants and grass and all that kind of thing. And I did that for about 10 years because they sold that property I was at, by the way. But I did that for about 10 years. I was very thankful for the job. It was out at General Electric here in Louisville, Kentucky. Even if you're not from here, you know that's like the place to work out of high school. So I lost touch with it a little bit. But when I bought a house in 2015, I picked it back up. So from like 2012 to like 2014, 15, I really didn't do it a ton. But then when I got a house, I felt like, well, I want to make this neighborhood better because I live, you know, near, you know, Audubon Hospital kind of area. And I felt like I'm going to go out. My son goes to school down the street now and pick up litter when I take him to school because he was a walker. And then when I walk back, I'm just going to pick up litter every single day, Monday through Friday. And I did. And then I started doing it on the weekends. And then my son sees me doing it, my wife, my neighbors, people in cars passing by. And I said, you know, we all want to be a part of something and have impact. I said, this is my thing. So I just kept doing it. And then, unfortunately, things didn't work out at GE. You know, I would have stayed there in my entire life and been a lifer. But it just didn't materialize that way. So one day it just dawned on me. I was like, I should just do this and turn the camera around and start recording it and go around the entire city, not just my block or the street up or whatever. I'm going to start doing this every day. And it made me excited. I get goosebumps right now thinking about it because, you know, it might seem like, oh, just picking up trash. Like I said earlier, boring, mundane, chore. But really, when that kid's on the school bus or that mom's driving by or that car full of kids, they're seeing this. And a lot of them, they don't go around the city with a bucket and grab her and say, they're like, what is that? They pique that interest. That's where I really feel like this is a big deal because, yeah, you can do meetups like quarterly or whatever, or monthly even, but make it a lifestyle, not just an hour or two, every now and then. Make it, I call it the litter getter life, where you incorporate this into your everyday routine. You don't have to do it for 5 hours like I do. You can do it for 30 minutes, walking the dog, going to the coffee shop, going to get you something to eat, fit it into your day, pick up that trash right in front of your feet. You're making an instant impact instantly on a number of levels. So that's kind of where I'm at today. And, I'm enjoying every minute of it. I love it.
Yeah, and I saw you on social media and saw the videos you've been posting. I love it. I just instantly was attracted to, why you don't often see that in this day and age. So I was really attracted to it and wanted to look at it. And, going back to Louisville's a big city. It's a huge city. And, as good as a city could do for picking up trash, there's always going to be more with how big it is. And it does take individual people stepping up and doing the work and making our city look as good as it possibly can. And like you said, it's just a little bit here or there goes a long way, and it instills the habits throughout. What sort of location have you been going to? Is it literally citywide? Do you drive around to different locations and doing it?
Well, I put a video out recently about how I kind of coordinate that, and it's a couple of things. It could be, me going out my front door. I call that the routine clean, where you go out your front door, you go left, right, straight ahead, and you just pick up what you see. Takes you like 30 minutes, whatever. And then on a whim, I'll keep a bucket. I keep a bucket in my trunk. Right now it's outside in my trunk, but I keep a bucket in my trunk and I got a little spot for it. I'll just drive a small car, and if I see something and I got a little bit of time, I'll pull over and I'll pull up on that trash and I'll pick it up, in that little spot, whatever. And third of all, I'll keep a list. So if there's a problem, like I'll say, near this part of town, near the freeway and the red fire hydrant, this is an issue. Let's circle back around. And I'll just keep a list, and then I'll look at that list every now and then. It's like, well, I'm going to go do this today or this one, and that's kind of how I do it.
So you've got your list. Do people ever through your social media reach out and it's like, hey, I would really love to clean this area, or there's some trash in this area? Does that ever happen now?
Yeah, it doesn't happen as frequent as I thought it would, but people do say, hey, look, this over here. There was a park about 2 months ago. I haven't got a chance to get out there because it's kind of outside of I-65, but there was a park, and then there was a couple other things around the city. But generally, it's just me, my daily life, just looking around and just being aware. I don't think a lot of people do that because they're not out here kicking trash like me. So I'm more in tune with my environment, and I know the city pretty well because, like I said earlier, I've been born and raised here. So not as much, but if people want to send me a DM or whatever, I'll try to get to it. I really do appreciate it because sometimes, even with that list, you're kind of like, well, I did that one already, or I did that area. So I try to get to as many areas as possible from the west end to the east and everywhere in between. And I kind of concentrate on like the central part of the city, like the old Louisville type of area, U of L, because that's my general area where I live. So it's just convenient for me. But if people want to send me something, they're more than welcome. I'd love to have the support and tips.
Yeah, I'll put your social media page in the description as well, so we'll be down below so people can go.
Right.
They should follow you and share locations. Even do you have a hashtag going?
I do. It's hashtag Kicking Trash 502, and I'm also at Kicking Trash 502. Luckily, that handle wasn't taken, so it's always a big deal. I got to put the underscore in or something, and that's just not a good idea. So yeah, I got Kicking Trash 502. So perfect.
Right, so that's what people need to do. If they're out there and they're picking up trash, they need to keep that hashtag going so it becomes, a popular one on social media.
Right.
That's awesome. Now, I want to swivel back just a little bit. You had mentioned earlier about your past and where you came from and your trajectory from there. I'd love to talk to you more about that because there is a homeless problem in Louisville. We see it all around, and there are steps being taken towards that. So to hear from someone who has been through that and now, reach what would say is like the goal of, you've got a family, you've got a job, you've got a house. I'd love to share your story about that.
Right. So I was born in Portland here in Louisville's West End on Rudd Avenue, and I lived there for a couple years. Obviously, I was very young, so I don't remember much of it, but we became homeless and we lived in a car. I'll never forget. We got a car down off 3rd Street. It was a big white car. I was pretty young, maybe around 4 years old. We got this car, it had a rod knocking in it, but it was big and it was comfortable. It took a ton of gas, but I lived in that car for, a year or two, and it wasn't a big deal to me. I didn't know. I enjoyed it. It was like going on an adventure every day. So I went through that, and, my mom and dad, they were still together. They had their struggles, and my mom and dad's always been a real big piece of my life. They're not perfect people, but I think even people that are not, pristine, they still give you value as far as the lessons they teach you. And sometimes they have the best lessons to teach you. So I lived in the car for a little while. Then I went through many homeless shelters. Down where New Lou is now, it's one of the most popping places in America, really, right now. It's going off the charts here in Louisville. But in the New Lou area, there used to be a homeless shelter there, and they've since moved. They're still around, Wayside Christian Mission. And I lived in Wayside Christian Mission for a little while, and then Tingley House, which is going towards the old Louisville neighborhood, and several other ones. You name it, I was there. Then I grew, and then my mom actually got Section 8 because she's disabled. My dad's also disabled. My dad had got shot in his side by a shotgun, and he had problems with his back. So both my parents, they were very smart people, but, barely graduated middle school. I don't even think they even graduated high school, no college, obviously. So, but my dad was very smart. My mom, very brilliant. So they taught me a lot. Mom got Section 8. We ended up getting a house near where Papa John's Cardinal Stadium is, or not Papa John's, but what is it now? L&N Credit Federal Union Cardinal Stadium. That's a lot to say. But so in 98, they built a stadium. We were only like 3 houses on the block. The street was called Helm, Helm, and there's no houses there now. But, not a lot of friends, not a lot of this, but we had a house. It wasn't the best house. It had like a leaky roof and all this kind of thing. And before that, for a short period, we did live in Old Louisville, but that was very small. That was kind of a slumlord that ran that. But so we got the house on Helm. I went to Cochran Elementary in the old Louisville neighborhood, going back to you'll hear me talk about that a lot in my social media. And because it had a big impact on my life, like the houses and stuff. It's just beautiful neighborhood near U of L. That's why I'm a U of L fan now. And then, just moved to Germantown. That's really where my life started to take off as far as friendships. I feel for a lot of kids today because, riding your bikes around. I'm not even that. I'm 36 years old. I had to think for a second. But, back then, that was ride around the neighborhood with your bicycle, get on the Tark, go out to the mall. I mean, I was like 11 or 12 years old. I think a lot of people can relate. And it was just a great childhood. And, that was around 99. We got a house, and it wasn't the best house. It was near a stamping factory. It was across the street. So it was super loud. And we were next door to a bar. It was then Club 21. And I loved it. It was great. Had my own room and yard, and friends would come over, and we actually had a garage. We made it into a clubhouse, and I just had a great life, growing up, branching out into my own. And then from there, we moved around because the school system, I was going to actually to Shawnee for a while in the West End, and just really didn't like it. I appreciate my time there. I'm a proud JCPS grad, but we ended up having to move just so I could go to a different school. So then we moved to another house in Germantown, on what was it? Near Houck's Corner. That's popular. It was right down there. So I moved there and went to high school. I met my high school sweetheart, Brittany Little. Shout out to Brittany. She keeps me. She's the best thing in the world. We've been together for 17 total years. Just recently celebrated an anniversary. So met her, and then life just took off. Like going back to, got the job at GE, and 4 kids later, and a mortgage and bills and life. And here I am, enjoying it, loving Louisville.
That's amazing, man. I mean, that's a great story. I just think it's awesome to see how, that's a tougher upbringing, being in a car. I'm sure at the time you didn't realize, like you said, when you're that young, you don't think things through. But then looking back, I'm sure you're like, hey, I've overcome a lot, and that's an amazing story. And to, still be here in Louisville and now giving back to the community, I think that's amazing. That's a huge testament to you.
Right.
Yeah, I can understand why now you want to do this kicking trash and giving back to the place that you have put
Right.
so
Had
much
I not
time
gone
into.
through that, who knows? I mean, it might not even been on my radar. I mean, different people have different upbringings, and it shapes who they are as a person and their values. And yeah, like you said, it was in hindsight a lot more. I seen how tough it was. And you brought up earlier the homeless population. Yeah, I see that on social media all the time, and that's great. Social media is doing a lot to help the homeless. And going back to when I was homeless in the early to mid 90s, there was a lot more resources because as we grow as a city, people come in from all around that are unhoused, homeless, however you want to phrase it. I say homeless because I was in those waters and I don't mind that. But when these people come in, the resources are not equaling up to the amount of people we have out there. And so, they want a cleaning community too. I see people that are on the streets cleaning up litter all the time. And I will give them some money for that. I mean, I really do appreciate it because just because they're living where they live does not mean they don't want a nice environment. And I think that's also a misconception that when you're out there on the streets, when we would go to the McDonald's or wherever in the morning or stop by the park to take a shower, we always threw our litter away and we lived in a car. And sometimes people might not think that people that live in those situations care about their environment, but they absolutely do.
Yeah, it's just a difference of
Right.
circumstances. Yeah. Well, I love the message that you're sharing here. How can more people get involved in making the city a better place towards, just from what you're doing?
Well, especially this time of year, as things warm up, people come out of hibernation. You'll see flyers all over the city. Hey, we got this neighborhood cleanup, this neighborhood cleanup, and those are great. Absolutely, I have one actually scheduled a couple days from now with one of my good friends, Milkshake. Shout out Milkshake in her neighborhood, and I'm going to go to that. But what I would recommend is that go get a $3 bucket from your local hardware store, a picker stick that's not much more than that, and go out there and do it and make it a lifestyle. Put stickers on the bucket, drill holes in the bottom so it drains, and just make it part of who you are. And to me, that's the best way. Because again, the meetups are awesome, but I think just as an individual, you might not want to go. Not everybody's a group person. They don't want to be out and be a face. They want to go out and just do it on their time. So get the bucket, get the grabber stick, follow Kicking Trash 502, and you're ready to rock.
Yeah, that's a great quick tip right there. And I think it's I agree with you. It's the little habits that turn into bigger things because
Right.
it's like, take for example, at your house, you could clean it sort of a little bit every week where it keeps it more consistent, or you could do it once every 6 months. It's going to be better if you
I
do
do the
little bits.
consistent.
Yeah, exactly. And it's those little things on a basis. And Louisville's such a dog-friendly city. So many people out there walking dogs, like you mentioned earlier. Just if you're out there walking your dog, take a little picker up or a little trash bag with you. And if you see a few things, and if more people did that,
Right.
it would snowball into a bigger effect.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off that, I have 4 kids. Like I said, a stroller. What I do is I get a zip tie and a carabiner and put it on there, and then put your bucket on there. Hands free. Now you just push the stroller as you see a piece. You don't got to do a big project. Just pick a little piece here and there, fit it into your day.
Yeah, that's
Take it off when you get back. Whatever.
Yeah. And all around it just makes the city a better place and makes it look a lot better. And taking
Right.
pride in the city
Civic
as well.
pride.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So what is it about Louisville that you love so much? Obviously, it's from where you are. It's got your sports team here. Why do you love Louisville?
I love Louisville because of the people that I'm, like I said earlier, Jefferson County Public Schools, they get a bad rap. But if it was not for my JCPS education, I wouldn't have the connections that I do now. I know people from all walks of life, Black, white, Asian, Mexican. I mean, I know everybody, and I can talk to them freely and easily because I've been around a diverse group of people as I've grown up. And I've never, for 1 minute, that's also a big part of what I'm able to do. I've never for 1 minute taken it for granted because it enables me to go to a part of town and get outside of my comfort zone that I might naturally not go to. Like if I'm from this part of town, I'll go to the East End, I'll go to the West End, I'll go out to the South End. And that's also a beautiful thing about where we live because each section of our city is really like its own little city. It's really unique. You go to the South End, you got the Derby and all the things that brings. And then you go to Germantown and you got the taverns on every corner and the history of German immigrants coming into that neighborhood and making it their own. And you go to the East End and you got what that brings, and to the West End with Little Africa and things like that and all this history. And it's a beautiful thing. And I don't, there's a lot of untapped potential that people don't really see on the surface. They just, what do they always think about? Horse racing, bourbon. And that's absolutely great. We've built an economy on it, but there's so much more to that. And it amazes me every day as I walk through these neighborhoods. Here I go, bringing up Old Louisville again, but you look at the history and the architecture and the street lights and the St. James Art Festival and all these little pockets of this. It's just amazing because when you're out there picking up trash, you're able to take a deep breath and really look around, you know, in the nooks and crannies and crevices of the city, and you really become one with where you live. And that's why I'm so big on Louisville. And again, they get a bit bad rap. We have things we have to improve, but when you're out there kicking trash, you're part of that improvement, and you're showing people that this is not just an afterthought. It's where you want to live, where you want to raise a family, and come here, be proud you're from here. And if you want to move here and start a life, absolutely. I know you love that. You help them find a place to live.
Yeah, I do love that. I love Louisville and just love everything about it. And I'm with you. It's such a diverse place, and there's something for everything. It's what do people always say? It's the best small town, big city, or whatever people say for that.
And I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I do. You know, we have that saying here. I kind of put a little twist on it, but just keep Louisville weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a lot of small businesses and from every walk of life, and I keep Louisville clean. You know, that's my kind of phrase. So it's just like a lot of character, and just I love living in Louisville. Yeah. Just to sum it up.
Yeah, it's a great city, a lot of great people. I always ask this question. It's probably going to be the hardest question I've asked you today. What's your favorite restaurant in Louisville?
My favorite restaurant in Louisville. I'm gonna give a shameless plug here. I actually recently ate for my anniversary. I ate it. It was on a whim too. It was Monk's Road Boiler House. It was a good spot, and you know they got two great steak houses in, but you know on each side of it, you got Jeff Ruby's, which everybody knows Jeff Ruby's regional chain, and then you got Repeal, which I really wanted to try, and I got that on my list. But we went to Monk's Road and we had a great time. We came in, went down the stairs, you know, and they gave us the history on the name and all that kind of thing. And then our server, Eli, I wrote him a great review on the internet. Phenomenal. We went to see a comedy show. It wasn't Matt. Was it Matt Rife? Mm-hmm. He was recently here. We didn't get to go to that one. It's not really our cup of tea anyway. But so Eli did a great job, got us out the door in time for our comedy show at the Louisville Comedy Place. And yeah, so Monk's Road right now is at the top. You know, it's always changing, you know. But if I'm just eating a burger, and you know what I'm going to say if you're from Louisville, got to go to Toasties. Got to go to Toasties.
Yeah, get a lot of people saying that one, yeah. I've not tried Monk's. I've got that written down, so I'm going to have to go and try that one. So going from here with everything that you're doing, what would you say is your long-term goal or vision that you'd love for Kicking Trash?
You know, I try not to get caught up in that. My long-term goal is just to be consistent and not get burnt out. And for 10 plus years, I haven't. That's what I'm saying. Like, keep it small, keep it into your flow of life, and just make it a habit. That way you don't get burnt out, because you always want to like go to the next thing. I'm gonna clean this block, then I'm gonna clean the city, then I'm gonna clean the state. And when does it end? You know, just do your small part. And the reason why I figured that out is I took my son one day, my son Landon, and he's 15, about to be 16, driving and all that. And he tries to pick up every little thing, cigarette butts and little shreds of paper. And that's good. So do I. But at some point you got to just do your part and move on. Then hopefully the next person will come by and get that, you know? And so that way it stops that burnout type of thing. So my next goal is just to keep going and be consistent.
Yeah. And from what I've seen, which I'm connecting the dots there for you, is, you know, getting more people to do it and sharing the message and passing on why it helps.
Right. So there's different ways to do that. Some people try to shame. Some people try to call out, because there was this one individual, they threw the same bag of trash out like every week. And I looked in the bag one day and their name was on there. So I didn't put them on blast, but I just thought, you know, people are just going to have habits, you know, and maybe one day they'll see me picking it up. And my hope is that they'll change that. You know, they'll say, you know what? Maybe I should just wait till I get home and throw that away. So that's my thing. Like, I'm not trying to shame you or saying you got to do it, but just give it a try. And I think you'll enjoy it. Stress relief, exercise, getting some fresh air, property values go up. I mean, it's just a number of things, and I'm big on it, obviously.
Awesome. Yeah. And how do people find you? And what say your Instagram again?
So very simple. What I would do, not remembering a number, all this. Just put in Kicking Trash 502 into Google. Everything, go from there.
Perfect. Awesome. And then I'll put the links in the description as well. That's the best way to find you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you being here. It's got a great story that you've shared with us, and love what you're doing for Louisville. Love everything about that. And I think more people should do it. So they should follow you and check out and see how they can get involved. To all of you out there, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.